guys, Mitch from Shock Therapy, and we're here to show you guys how to install a set of Fox RC2's on the Pro XP. These RC2's are a much larger diameter than the original Walker Evans shocks that come equipped on this car. The RC2's also have more adjustability, which means they come with a dual high-speed and low-speed compression adjuster, along with a rebound adjuster on the bottom of the shock. Not only are the RC2's built for your average riding, they're also made for racing too, which means they're built with the highest quality plating and components, which is going to outlast the life of your car. Some of the things to expect out of these RC2's on your car, besides the adjustability, is the much more plush ride quality that you're going to gain just from the shock alone. Also, the bottom-out resistance that this shock is known for. This translates to a smooth ride through the chop and chatter, and no bottoming out with the biggest jumps and biggest G-outs. These RC2's come factory with our dual rate spring kit, along with the internal shock modification, also known as the RAS system. This means they come right out of the box with settings ready to go. Just put them on the car, set your ride heights, and run it. This install should take you about an hour or two. I'm going to jump on in and show you guys how to get it done. With your UTV already on jack stands and your factory shocks removed from the unit, it is now time to install the rear driver's side RC2 shock first, starting with the upper hardware, finishing with the lower hardware. Leave all of the hardware loose at this time to make ride height adjustments later on. And remember, the rear shocks are not side specific. Repeat these steps on the opposite rear shock. With both rear shocks installed and the hardware left loose, remove the jack stands and lower the car back onto the ground. Now, raise the front of the vehicle using jack stands for safety. You can then install the front passenger side RC2, starting with the upper hardware first, finishing with the lower hardware, leaving all the hardware loose at this time to make ride height adjustments later on. Okay guys, so a quick pro tip on installing these. It sometimes helps to actually turn the tire outwards so you can get in there because the mounting point is really far back there. Another thing to remember, the reservoir of the shock is always going to face the firewall. Repeat these steps on the driver's side. Once both front shocks are installed, you can now remove the jack stands and lower the vehicle back onto the ground. Next, you must settle the suspension by driving the car back and forth a few times. You must drive the car back and forth a couple of times, making sure to hit the brake and the accelerator to settle the suspension. When you come to your final stop, make sure to not hit the brakes and come to a coasting stop. Something to keep in mind when measuring your ride height is to physically measure the side of your tire. This will come into play when you're trying to achieve your targeted ride height numbers. With the driver remaining in the vehicle, measure the front ride height. This is measured from the ground to the lower control arm mount closest to the firewall. With factory tires, the front should be at 14 inches. The rear is measured from the ground to the bottom of the frame itself at the center of the car. This measurement should be at 14 inches. If your ride heights are accurate, you are good to tighten all the hardware and adjust the crossovers. But if your ride height is a little bit low or a little bit high, this is when you should adjust it accordingly to match our ride height numbers. Okay guys, pro tip on adjusting your preload nuts. The tool that we use is actually a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver that you cut in half. That guy fits perfect inside the preload nut. You can actually adjust this in the vise without having to take the springs off, so we'll show you how to do that. Always lower the preload collar to raise the vehicle, and raise the preload collar to lower the vehicle.
2.5.
Ride heights are very important, so make sure you take your time to get this right.
Stay there. Okay.
A good rule of thumb is moving the preload collar in the front of the vehicle 1/2 inch will raise it or lower it 1 inch. Preload collars in the rear of the vehicle are almost a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning 1 inch of movement equals 1 inch of ride height. Your RC2s have a baseline adjustment into all of the clickers coming straight from us. After achieving your front ride height, install the shock back on the UTV and repeat on the passenger front shock. Jack up the rear of the vehicle to make rear ride height adjustments. Okay guys, so something else to keep in mind when you are adjusting the ride height on the rear shocks, you can actually do this with the shock on the car using that same tool that we showed you, just by simply adjusting the preload nut up or down with the car jacked up. Make your rear ride height adjustments and repeat this step on the passenger rear shock. Have your driver settle the suspension by driving it back and forth a few times, and recheck your ride heights. With ride heights established, you can now check crossover ring locations. The gap between the bottom of the crossover rings and the top of the spring divider in the front of the vehicle should be at 1 to 1.5 inches. In the rear of the vehicle, the gap from the bottom of the crossover to the top of the spring divider should be 2.5 inches. Your stand-in driver can now leave and you are able to tighten all of the shock hardware. Once your hardware is tight, your installation is finally complete. We hope that this video helped you guys with the installation of your Fox RC2s at home. Something to keep in mind is that ride heights are always a moving target. As you add weight or subtract weight, be sure to adjust those ride heights accordingly. Keep the ground clearance to the numbers that we suggest in a video or our instructions, and the car is always going to ride amazing. As with all of our spring kits, they are made in the USA. They are also warranted for life, but they are a brand new spring and they are going to settle after the first 100 to 200 miles. It's very important to make sure to check the ride heights after that time and keep them at the recommended heights. Another advantage of the Fox RC2s is that they are compatible with the IQS system. This is an electronically adjustable compression system that gives you the ability to turn the shock up or down from inside the car multiple times a minute as you're driving. If you want the ultimate in adjustability, then contact us for your Fox IQS upgrade on your RC2s. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell to be notified anytime that we post a new video. As always, if you guys have any questions about this kit, feel free to contact us at 623-217-4959. If you'd like to order any other products off the website, visit us at www.shocktherapyusa.com. Try to get you. Sorry, Dad. You're right. Thanks, Dad. That's a big one. Got this kit. Be free. Feel free. Be free. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry, Josh. Sorry. This makes me better. Dad. Dad. Nephew.